Stop the Nazi games. Hello to you all. Hallo allemaal, daar zijn we er weer. RHTV Live. Ja, natuurlijk streamen we live vanuit het mooie Maastricht. Ja, en natuurlijk gaan we het aanwijzen op de kaart hier in het zuiden des lands. So, we are streaming live from Maastricht in the south of the Netherlands. And of course, we're going to look at geopolitics and what's happening in the Netherlands. And first of all, we're going to look at the border wall. Ja, we gaan naar de muur kijken, mensen. Weten we nog, Donald Trump zou een muur gaan bouwen. En ja, dat is dus niet helemaal zo gegaan zoals gepland. En we gaan zo even kijken naar de muur. En dan wijzen we ook aan waar we gaan kijken. We're also going to show you where we are going to look. Bill, Arizona. There you go. So, this is the border. Dit is de grens. En we gaan zo naar de muur kijken. We're going to look at the border wall, right? And see how far it has come. Yeah. The border wall ends here, Lookville, Arizona, migrant crisis. Ja. We weten allemaal dat Joe Biden de grenzen openhoudt in Amerika. En de Democraten, tijdens toen Trump aan de macht was, hebben ze de muur proberen tegen te houden al die tijd. En ja, Trump heeft het wel zover gekregen dat er een muur gemaakt is, maar het is niet afgemaakt. Ja. So Trump actually, made the wall, but didn't finish it because the Democrats were obstructing him.
Jonathan Leverage investigates Lukeville, Arizona. Border wall, United States, Mexico on the other side. Miles, probably about 5-10 miles east of Lukeville. Border wall comes to an end. It comes to an end right here, and anyone can just come into the United States illegally from this location right here. I'm going to spin the camera. Now, the port of entry for Lukeville is way where you can see those lights. Way in the distance. And up here, I would say between 5 and 10 miles, maybe even more. Not sure. But here, you can see the border wall comes to an end, and anyone can come here and enter into Mexico, or anyone can come into the United States. And here is the Mexico side of the border. This is Mexico, folks. And I noticed there's a lot of trash up here. Trash.
Millions and millions and millions of people are crossing the border, evading the wall, basically, and, climbing over this stuff, and then they're in the US. Miljoenen mensen gaan hier zo de grens over, en ineens ben je in Amerika. So this is happening, people, right? And the White House says there's nothing happening at the border. The border is secure. Het Witte Huis zegt er is niks bij de grens, niks aan de hand. De grens is veilig. Nou, noem je dit een veilige grens? Do you call this a safe border? I certainly don't, right? And the thing is, you see, there are many, many refugees in this world. There's actually, let's see if we can find that video, bubblegum. There. We have found it. So we're going to explain immigration by using bubble gums.
Some people say that mass immigration into the United States can help reduce world poverty. Is that true? Well, no, it's not. And let me show you why. This gumball represents the 1 million legal immigrants that the United States has taken every year on average since 1990. Now, who in the world deserves our humanitarian compassion? The World Bank has one measure of the desperately poor of the world. They make less than $2 a day.
Dus voor de mensen die geen Engels verstaan, die kauwgombal, dat is 1 miljoen mensen. Nou, dat gaat jaarlijks naar Amerika toe. 1 miljoen. Ja, en elke kauwgombal vertegenwoordigt een miljoen mensen. Zo moet je het een beetje voorstellen.
How many people make less than $2 a day in the world? We'll start with Africa. In Africa alone, there are 650 million people who make less than $2 a day. 650 million.
Dit is dus Afrika. 650 miljoen mensen die minder dan $2 per dag verdienen. Dan wel €2, ongeveer €2 per dag verdienen. Vind je het dan vreemd dat ze hier naartoe komen?
And in India, another 890 million people, desperately poor. China adds another 480 million people, making less than
Wat zei die? India? Hier komt hij nog eens.
desperately poor. China.
Moeten we even verder terugspoelen. Dit is dus Afrika, dat hebben we net gehad. Hè? Er komt India erbij.
And in India, another 890 million people, desperately.
890 miljoen mensen. Ja? En denk eraan, hè? We hebben die kauwgombal, dat is 1 miljoen. Ja?
Poor. China adds another 480 million people.
China 480 miljoen mensen.
Making less than $2 a day. And unfortunately, the rest of Asia has a heartbreaking 810 million people who the World Bank says make less than $2.
De rest van Azië, 810 miljoen mensen die minder dan €2 per dag verdienen.
A day. And finally, there's 105 million of Latin America's population that are desperately poor. All told, the World Bank
Dan heb
said
je nog Zuid-Amerika, wat was het, 105 miljoen mensen die onder de €2 verdienen. Dan hebben ze een hele dag gewerkt. Hè?
there are 3 billion people in the world. 3 billion people who are desperately poor, making less than $2 a day. That's 3,000 gumballs. And every year, we take 1 million and suggest that we've somehow made a humanitarian difference.
Elk jaar nemen 1 miljoen mensen, zo ongeveer, gemiddeld. En dan denken wij dat we een verschil maken.
Of course, we don't pull our immigrants from these desperately poor populations, do we? These people are too poor, too sick, too disconnected to make it here as immigrants. We tend to pull our immigrants out of the better off poor of the world And Mexico tends to define the type of immigrant that we bring here because the plurality of people come from Mexico. And Mexico is poor. How many people in the world live in countries that have average incomes lower than that of Mexico? And the World Bank tells us that that number is these 3 billion plus another 2.6 billion people. 5.6 billion people in the world who live in countries with average incomes below that of Mexico. That's 5,600 gumballs. And so what is it that the elites are telling us? They're telling us that when we take this 1 million immigrants, that we somehow or another are tackling world poverty. And we have to do it regardless of the effect on our unemployed, the working poor, the most vulnerable members of our society, regardless of the effect on our natural resources. Even if we went by the most radical proposals in Washington, which are to actually double our immigration to 2 million a year, which would totally overwhelm our physical, natural, and social infrastructures, we couldn't make a noticeable difference. And we may be really hurting the impoverished people of the world because the million that we do take are among the most energetic, often the better educated, certainly the most dissatisfied people that if they did not immigrate would be the agents for change to improve the lot of all the people in these countries.
Wij nemen dan zogenaamd hoogopgeleide mensen hier naar binnen en zoiets. Maar dat is wel een brain drain, zo heet dat. Brain drain naar die landen toe. Ja, wij halen hun artsen, halen wij dan hier naartoe en zoiets. Maar dan hebben zij geen artsen meer. Snap je hoe dat immigratiespelletje werkt? En er wordt jou verteld, je moet straks je woning gaan delen. Want we hebben heel wat mensen te redden. Nou, die paar miljoen die wij aannemen, heeft totaal geen zin. Je moet die landen helpen. Die landen moeten vooruit kunnen met hun economie, met hun werk en zoiets allemaal. Ja, die landen moeten vooruit geholpen worden. Het heeft geen zin om al die mensen hier naartoe te halen. Dus ja, zo help je de wereld niet. Dan heb je alsnog mensen die zingen: jullie zijn welkom, jullie zijn welkom in ons land.
Who live in countries with average incomes below that of Mexico. That's 5,600 gumballs. And so what is it that the elites are telling us? They're telling us that when we take this 1 million immigrants, that we somehow or another are tackling world poverty. And we have to do it regardless of the effect on our unemployed, the working poor, the most vulnerable members of our society, regardless of the effect on our natural resources. Even if we went by the most radical proposals in Washington, which are to actually double our immigration to 2 million a year, which would totally overwhelm our physical, natural, and social infrastructures, we couldn't make a noticeable difference. And we may be really hurting the impoverished people of the world because the million that we do take are among the most energetic, often the better educated, certainly the most dissatisfied people that if they did not immigrate would be the agents for change to improve the lot of all the people in these countries. The true heroes in the global humanitarian field are the people in these countries who have the wherewithal to immigrate to another country but instead stay in their countries to apply their skills to help their fellow countrymen. Unfortunately, our immigration system tends to entice these very type of people to abandon their countrymen. The impossibility of making even a dent is actually worse than it looks here. Because last year, when we took 1 million immigrants, these countries added births over deaths, 80 million more people into the impoverished populations. And this year, Congress is bringing in 1 million legal immigrants. And this year, according to the United Nations, these countries are expected to add another 80 million people. And next year, you can be quite sure that Congress, unless stopped by the American voters, will bring in another 1 million immigrants. And these countries, unfortunately, will be adding another 80 million people into these impoverished nations. We could take 5 million a year, but we'd never get ahead of what's happening in these countries. Not in this century. Don't you see? Immigration can never be an effective or significant way to deal with the suffering people of the world. They have to be helped where they live. Not
Internally, they have to be helped internally, right? Not externally. Don't give them money, don't give the dictator money. He only wants more power. The people aren't helped with that. You have to have internal change, right? These people have to have a good life. They're not supposed to be on the streets begging for money or food. Deze mensen hebben ook een goed leven die zij verdienen. Intern moet er iets veranderd worden. Want wij geven alleen externe hulp. We geven wat geld aan een dictator en die verrijkt zichzelf daar alleen maar mee. Ja? Daarmee help je de wereld niet. Dit moeten mensen doorhebben. Deze hebben we al vaker afgedraaid, maar herhaling is goed. Ja, je moet het blijven herhalen, want je hebt nog altijd mensen die zeggen, jullie zijn welkom. Jullie zijn welkom in ons land. Jullie zijn welkom. Apeldoorns zingen voor vluchtelingen. So these are people welcoming the refugees, right? Now, let's take a listen to what they have to say.
Jij bent welkom.
Dit zijn plekken.
Wij islamieten zijn rustig. Wij kunnen alles met onze woord kunnen we uitpraten. We hebben onze handen niet nodig en onze kracht niet nodig, niks. Want wij zetten jullie verschut alleen met onze mond.
Kan kapot.
Ik wil weten wie je
So this is a mix of clips, right? You see these left-leaning people singing, you are welcome in our country, whilst, people are, get the finger from these people, right?
Dit zijn plekken.
Wij islamieten zijn rustig. Wij kunnen alles met onze woord kunnen we uitpraten. We hebben onze handen niet nodig en onze kracht niet nodig, niks. Want wij zetten jullie verschut alleen met onze mond.
Kan kapot.
Ik wil weten wie je bent. Vertel me je verhaal.
Luister, we gaan niet te veel informatie aan jou doorgeven, snap je? Zo werken wij niet. Ik heb toch vrijheid van meningsuiting. Ik mag gewoon zeggen wat ik wil. Ik ben een strijder van Tayyip Erdogan. Je weet toch, sowieso. Zo gaat het hier in de buurt. Alles pet. Allemaal doodmaken.
Ik wil begrijpen wat het is.
So this is happening, right? These are the refugees that people sing for. You're welcome in my country and stuff like that. It's really amazing. It really is amazing. People need to see that gumball explanation about immigration. right? Share this video if you see this. And, there's so much happening in the world. Er gebeurt zoveel, mensen. We gaan ook even kijken. We're shifting gears. We gaan even naar een andere onderwerp. Biggest NATO drill since the Cold War to start next week. Now, this was 1 week ago, right? 18th of January, 2024. NATO will launch its largest exercise since the Cold War next week with about 90,000 personnel to take part in the months-long war games. The Alliance top commander, General Chris Cavalli, has said, right? So they're playing war games in the Baltic Sea. Nou, ze zijn met oorlogsspellen bezig in de Baltische Zee. En we gaan zo aanwijzen waar het nou precies ligt. Ja. Dus een heel artikel over NATO, die zichzelf dan zogenaamd verdedigt in de zee. Ja. Toch wel heel frappant dat we nog steeds niet weten wie de Nord Stream pijpleiding heeft opgeblazen. Maar goed, ze doen dus een NATO-oefening in de Baltische Zee. En ja, hier hebben we dus Lukeville, waar we net waren. En net lieten we de muur zien van de grens. Ja, en hier hebben we dan de Baltische Zee. Hier zo bovenin Polen, Duitsland, Denemarken, Zweden, Finland. Dat zit allemaal in de Baltische, rondom de Baltische Zee. En daar hebben we ook nog Litouwen en die andere landen. Ja, Estonië en zo. Dus hier doen ze een hele grote NATO-oefening. En we hebben hier zo Moskou. En Rusland, die heeft ook een grote vloot bij Sint-Petersburg. En ja, het lijkt me toch wel heel erg dichtbij. Het lijkt me toch wel dat je dat niet zomaar zou gaan doen. Ja. We hebben dus ook Finland, die ook bij de NATO zit. Ja, en dan wordt dat een heel stuk kleiner, hè, waar Rusland zich kan varen. Dit zijn dan zogenaamde internationale wateren. Ja, maar Rusland telt er niet mee, hè? Nee. So there is a very big NATO drill, 90,000 personnel that happened this week. And it's in the Baltic Sea somewhere. And, it's not far from Russia, not far from St. Petersburg. And it looks like that NATO is provoking Russia, to attack NATO. Yeah. So this is happening in the Baltic Sea, right? And we still have the Ukraine war. We hebben nog altijd de oorlog in Oekraïne, die nog steeds gaande is. A lot of people say, how can you take back a region which is in your own country, right? Well, it's because Donetsk and Luhansk separated from Kiev. There were autonomous states within Ukraine, and this is why Kiev is trying to take over Donetsk and Luhansk and the surrounding region, Mariupol and also Crimea, which is part of Russia because of a referendum. Right? We have the Kerch Bridge that exploded twice, which is a target for Ukraine, right? We hebben de Kerkbrug, zoals het heet. Een hele lange brug is dat, 2 keer ontploft. En ja, dat is toch wel een doelwit voor de Oekraïense vloot, die vanuit Odessa, hier heb je Odessa, ook een groot haven. En daar heb je dan de Oekraïense leger en vloot, die dan de Krim aanvallen. Middels speedboten en zoiets. Ja, we gaan niet al te diep op wat er in Oekraïne gebeurt. We geven alleen de rode draad hierin. Ja, Rusland die neemt dus wat land in en daarna trekken zij zich terug. En de land die ze ingenomen hebben, daar gaan ze grachten maken en een moeilijk terrein maken en dan trekken zij zich terug. Dan gaan ze bij een defensieve lijn staan en dan maar wachten tot de Oekraïners komen. Die moeten door die greppels heen en zoiets allemaal. Het wordt moeilijk gemaakt voor hun en dan valt Rusland aan. Dat is hun tactiek. So Russia gains a few acres of land and then they retreat, right? They make ditches and hard terrain to take over, and then they go to the defensive line, which they have, and they just wait, for the Ukrainians to come. Ja, dat is defensief oorlog voeren. Kijk, het verschil tussen Rusland en Amerika is, als je kijkt naar de Irak-oorlog bijvoorbeeld, de doelwit van de Amerikanen was Bagdad. Ja, als we Bagdad in handen hebben, dan komt alles goed. Maar ja, dat is dus niet het geval. En daar hebben de Russen ook van geleerd. Van de fouten die Amerika gemaakt heeft. Je kan niet zomaar even een hoofdstad overnemen en dan denken, ja, de oorlog is voorbij. So, if we look at the American objective in Iraq, that was take over the capital city, Baghdad, but that did not really help. And Russia was also looking at those tactics, and that is why they are concentrated in the east of Ukraine, not taking over Kiev. They do have retaliatory strikes towards Kiev, right? But they don't take over Kiev. Ja. Ze gaan wel raketaanvallen doen naar Kiev, maar ze nemen Kiev dus niet over. Ja. Dus, maar goed, dat is allemaal oorlogsvoering en daar willen we liever niet over hebben, want oorlog wordt overal gevoerd, zo'n beetje. We hebben dus Israël en de Gazastrook, waar oorlog gevoerd wordt, nog altijd. Ondanks dat de International Criminal Court heeft gezegd van Israël, jullie moeten alles registreren wat jullie doen. En zoiets allemaal. Israël blijft gewoon doorgaan. En ook in het noorden van Israël, Libanon, het zuiden van Libanon, daar wordt ook nog hevig gevochten. En ja, dat houdt maar niet op. Dat houdt me niet op. Ja, dan hebben we dus Oekraïne, Rusland, Israël, Gaza. Daar hebben we ook nog Sudan, de RSF tegen het leger. En ja, waarschijnlijk Ethiopië op een oorlogspad. Die willen een kustlijn hebben, wat ze niet krijgen. En ja, heel Afrika is gedestabiliseerd. Every African country somewhat is destabilized. Right? We have Sudan, which is in a civil war, the army against paramilitary We have Niger, which had a coup. We had Mali, which had a coup. Burkina Faso had 4 coups. Guinea had a coup. We also have Gabon, which is here. They had a coup. You know, the DRC is also being destabilized and stuff like that. This is really amazing. Really, really amazing. Dus dit gebeurt allemaal, mensen. Heel Afrika is gedestabiliseerd. En waar denk je waar ze naartoe gaan? Waar zullen ze naartoe gaan? Denk je dat ze naar Irak toe gaan? Waar ook bommen vliegen? En zoiets. Waar het nog onveilig is. Nog altijd instabiel. Denk je dat ze naar Iran toe gaan? Nee. Turkije? Nee, ben je mal. Nee, ze gaan allemaal stuk voor stuk naar Europa toe. So all these refugees are going to Europe. They're not going to Syria. They're not going to Iraq. They're not going to Jordan or Saudi Arabia or Yemen or Oman or the Gulf states or Iran or Afghanistan. Nope, we're not going that way. We're going to Europe. Yeah, Europe, where there are golden mountains and, you know, the land of opportunity and stuff like that. Dat gaan we doen. We gaan met z'n allen naar Europa. En daar heb je in Nederland dus de spreidingswet. Ja, dat betekent dus dat als jij alleen woont in jouw appartement en de gemeente moet een aantal vluchtelingen opnemen, ja, en die hebben daar dan geen ruimte voor, ja, dan ben jij de geschikte kandidaat om dus Ali Somali uit Verwegistan in huis te nemen met zijn vrouw en kinderen. So in the Netherlands we have the distribution law, right? Because all of our refugee centers are overflowing with refugees, right? And the Dutch government demissionary had said we are going to enact this distribution law, and so there you go, Wilders. You can't form your cabinet now. So this is what's happening in the political scene in the Netherlands, and now all the cities and districts and stuff, they have to bring in these refugees and stuff like that. And if you live alone and you're in your apartment, the government can say, hey, we don't have any more space, but you have space. You know, so here's Ali Somali from Farawaystan, right? And this is your new family now, right? You're going to live in your apartment. So this is all happening, people. It's crazy, crazy. Ja, het is gewoon debiel. Maar ja, goed, dit gebeurt allemaal. En we houden het gewoon allemaal bij. En ja, very, very sad to see what's going on in the Netherlands. But if we look at what's going on in Europe, right, not only the Netherlands, but also other countries, we're going to take a look at this here. Farmers on the brink, what's behind your spreading protests? And it's from France TV.
Their tractors have been bearing down on Europe's capitals. From Berlin to Bucharest, Warsaw to Brussels, farmers venting their fury. With margins squeezed by inflation and big distribution, which has been driving down market prices in the name of protecting consumers' pocketbooks. Here in France, the movement's gone from the impoverished small family farms of the southwest to the gates of the capital. In a nation that's particularly proud of its peasant roots, whose agro-industry giants rank among the world leaders, we'll ask about the fury and the distress, and about the government's pledge to streamline red tape. And while the EU is forced to justify and possibly review new environmental norms that farmers say only open the door to less regulated competitors from around the world, the far right is making political hay out of what it portrays as woke globalist tree huggers out of touch with reality. All this is happening, of course, ahead of June's European elections. Today in the France 24 debate, we're looking at farmers on the brink. With us from Poitiers.
This could mean the end of the EU.
In the center of France, British-born cattle and wheat farmer Anthony Thompson. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me.
We're joined as well from Brussels by Luc Vernet, Secretary General of the Farm Europe think tank. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. Hi.
And we welcome a Belgian member of the European Parliament. There he is, co-president of the Greens voting bloc, Philippe Lamberts. Thanks for joining us.
A pleasure.
Your reactions on the hashtag F24 debate. Yeah, blocking the morning commute into Paris. French farmers this Thursday taking their grievances closer and closer to the capital ahead of plans by at least one union to blockade, it says, the city on Friday. Delano de Souza has more.
The morning rush hour commute outside the city of Rennes was different on Thursday. One after another, tractors joined in the traffic. Here, like outside other big cities in France, farmers are aiming to pile pressure on the government over rising costs and red tape.
Our aim is to block so that nothing can go in or out. This is the depth we've reached.
We ask for flexibility and recognition for our work. The second point is the prices. We are constantly being squeezed about prices. Costs have increased. Our prices have returned to the level of 3 years ago, and yet our costs have remained the same. The equation no longer works.
The anger on display amongst French farmers has been echoed across Europe in recent weeks. Farmer protests have also broken out in Poland, the Netherlands, Belgium and Germany. Large imports from Ukraine have contributed to lower prices for European farmers after the EU scrapped quotas and import duties in the wake of Russia's invasion. It's a predicament that's got officials in Brussels taking notice.
We all sense that there is an increasing division.
We all sense that you are working for the evil powers, that have control over you. Right? Ursula von der Leyen, I never voted for you. You are a despot, right? And saying that every country has to contribute to the war. No, you have to make peace. Peace. But that is something German leaders don't know about. It's very, very sad to see. But we have been taken over by Germany. Yeah. The EU was there to prevent the big powers within Europe to gain power, right? And now we have a German in power, and this is so-called democratic. Yeah, right. No one voted for you.
Division and polarization when it comes to topics relevant and related to agriculture. And I'm deeply convinced that we can only overcome this polarization that we all sense by dialogue.
The French government finds itself in a tricky position as it's desperate to avoid a repeat of the Yellow Vest protest movement ahead of the Olympics. France's newly installed Prime Minister has tasked his government to come up with aid measures. But French farmers say if the response isn't adequate, they'll descend on the capital and turn the country on its head.
Anthony Thompson, did you see this movement coming?
I think it's been brewing for perhaps the last 2 to 3 years. There's come a point where the amount of pressure that farmers face today, not just financial but administrative, is almost unbearable. There are people who are there to advise and to help, but at the end of the day, at this particular moment in time, the pressures that are facing the vast majority of farmers in France, especially livestock farmers, is just got unbearable. And I think.
And what is it? Is it inflation? Is it the?
It's a stupid government coming with their stupid rules, right? Nitrogen bull crap. Come on, you know. You just want less farmers. You want to destabilize our countries, so we are dependent on you, right? That's the game. Really pisses me off because if we look at what's happening in the Netherlands, this is really, really disgusting, right? They want to introduce insects and as food, right? And the first way to introduce insects as food is to make candy out of it. So they're going to make insect lollipops. You think I'm joking? Well, here we have the insect lollipops that the Telegraaf, which is a left-leaning media organization, is spreading.
Nou, deze krekels, die kweken wij voor menselijke consumptie.
These are crickets and they're for human consumption.
Gaan dus ook in de lollies. Het voedsel van de toekomst.
Veel mensen vinden insecten eten vies.
This is the food of the future, right? According to that guy we just saw. And this is to introduce the tasty cricket. Oh, yummy. Oh, so tasty. So tasty. You know. Well, they, you know, Klaus Schwab and all these globalists and technocrats and Ursula von der Leyen, who should be Cruella de Vil, you know, they can eat meat and they have the best food and this and that. While we plebs under their feet can eat insects with lollipops.
Maar toch ligt deze insectenlolly vanaf maandag in de supermarkt. Een primeur.
Dat we nu via de lolly mensen in staat stellen om de eerste keer insecten te eten. Want dat is toch het belangrijkste, dat je het een keer durft. En ja, dan, als je die drempel over bent, dan ja, is de volgende stap naar ja, een keer een aardappeltje met wat insecten en wat groenten, is dan veel makkelijker te maken.
En dat is belangrijk voor onze toekomst, zegt hoogleraar Dieke.
We hebben een snel groeiende wereldbevolking en om die...
So he's talking about the world population expanding whilst it's shrinking, you know, but these people are so insane. So they live under the consensus that, you know, it's expanding and we don't have the room and stuff like that. So we buy the farmers out, right? Make new cities, communities, especially for refugees, right? I'm serious here. And we have these insect farms all over the Netherlands. And, you know, insects is the food of the future for the Netherlands. Very, very sad to see what's happening in my country.
Allemaal te voorzien van voldoende eiwit. Dat kan nu nog wel, maar als we nog 2 miljard extra mensen moeten voeden, dan wordt dat op de gangbare manier onmogelijk. En we moeten dus naar alternatieven zoeken. En insecten zijn één van de mogelijke alternatieven.
Over een paar jaar is een potje krekelpuree misschien wel net zo ingeburgerd als woensdag gehaktdag.
So, this is what's happening in the Netherlands. We also have the king, the king, right, going to an insect farm, and let's see if we can find that. We already showed it on another episode of RHTVLive. Here we have the Prime Minister. Ja, Rutte 4 QR-code laten zien om ergens binnen te komen. So they wanted that people needed to show their QR codes to enter public buildings and stuff like that. This is also very interesting. Fake Mike, real news, cool channel to watch. Let's see if we can find the insects. We hadden helaas gelijk gekregen. Liberate Canada, indeed. So we also do live streams on Facebook, but that's mostly in Dutch. And I'm in the city, right? Let's see if we can find the lots of RHTVLive, right? I think Facebook, deleted that or something. I don't know. Can't find it right now. Maybe I posted a lot. It could also be. Yeah, here we have the king visiting an insect farm and eating insect burgers, right?
Koning Sander trok veel aandacht tijdens zijn bezoek aan Meppel. Hij ging langs bij milieuvriendelijke bedrijven.
Heb je hem zo nog een handje te kunnen geven?
Ja, en een selfie proberen te maken.
Na een hoop handjes geven en selfies maken was het natuurlijk tijd om iets te eten. Hier maken ze burgers van meelwormen, insecten dus. En die zien er zo uit. Wormen worden speciaal gekweekt om te kunnen eten. Dat is beter voor het milieu dan het houden van koeien, varkens of kippen. En omdat ze zo klein zijn, nemen ze maar weinig ruimte in en kun je er veel meer van houden.
Heel veel van onze eiwitten halen we uit vlees. En dat vlees dat stoot heel veel CO2 uit om te produceren. De wormen zijn koudbloedig en daardoor passen ze hun lichaamstemperatuur altijd aan de omgeving.
En stoten ze minder schadelijke gassen uit?
En stoten ze minder schadelijke gassen uit.
Is het niet zielig?
Ja, ik vind het niet super zielig. Er is wel veel onderzoek naar gedaan dat ze veel minder waarnemen van wat er gebeurt. En daardoor zou je eigenlijk kunnen zeggen dat het minder zielig is.
Het eten van deze beestjes mag nu sinds een paar jaar in Nederland. Al is het wel wennen.
En ze voelen niet lekker en het zijn kleine beesten. En, ja, ik vind het wel lekker.
En ook de koning was wel benieuwd naar zo'n insectenburger.
Ze hebben een stukje vlees zonder want als je de ketchup en alles op doet, dan kan je een heleboel verbergen. Dat smaakt niet goed inderdaad.
Hij vindt het dus lekker.
So there you have the king, right? Our so-called king, our sovereign. And, it really is amazing. It is amazing, He'll never eat anything like insects and stuff like that, but we have to. Yeah, we have to. He just tasted it, just one bite, and then he gave it back. You saw it, right? And of course he says, tastes good. Yeah, it tastes good. Yeah, this is the meat that we have to eat, right? And he has to sell that meat. Sell that meat. Yeah, we don't want the environment getting bad because of cow farts, right? We need insects. Yeah. We need to eat like birds and stuff like that. Oh my God. I need to cool down. I really need to cool down. This is amazing, people. This really is amazing. And, How can people stay calm? Hoe kun je nou kalm blijven, mensen? Dit is onze toekomst. Wij krijgen de krekelburger en de kakkelakburger en zoiets. En waarschijnlijk is de kakkelakburger iets duurder dan de krekelburger en bla 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 bla. En oh my god man, niemand doet iets. No one is doing anything. We're all accepting this. This is like an episode from the Twilight Zone. You know? The world turned upside down. Ja, dus echt onvoorstelbaar. So, let's take a look at what's happening in Canada. We have Pierre, what's his name? Oh well, Pierre Guy, conservative, Pierre Polivier or something like that. Pierre, whatever. This guy here, and he's talking about common sense, right? Something that has been lost.
The minister said, can you imagine that? He said, like most Canadians, I stayed with friends. And an $89,000 vacation for free from friends. Wow, geez, I think I have the wrong friends. Actually, I have the best friends in the world. And they'll let me sleep on the couch once in a while if necessary. But I think most Canadians would feel a long way from home if they had an $89,000 vacation, wouldn't they? But everything feels a long way from home right now, doesn't it? You know, when people stop me on the streets, they tell me they don't recognize the country. I met a lady who immigrated here from Punjab just yesterday at the airport, and she said to me, where is my Canada? What happened to this place? Used to be that she lived safe in her neighborhood, she could earn a decent living, buy a house, raise her kids with nutritious food, but now she's worried she might lose her home altogether. And she didn't say so, but I think that she's eating at a food bank. That was only minutes after I spoke to a 28-year-old. I had previously seen her as a CATSA screener.
Either she's eating at a food bank whilst you guys are dining on grandeur, you know, food. Either she's eating at a food bank or she's eating insects, right? This is the reality.
A few months ago, she then told me she had done the calculation based on her monthly savings, that it was going to take her well into her 40s to make her first down payment on a home. And of course, let's be honest, she said her biological clock is ticking. She wants to start a family, something that's not easy living in her parents' basement. Today, though, her problem was different and new, but related. Not only is she living in her parents' basement, but she has to help the family pay the mortgage, which has gone up by $15,000 a year. So now, not only is she worried about whether she'll ever own a home, she's worried that her parents, with whom she lives, might not be able to keep that home. That's life after 8 years of Justin Trudeau. After 8 years of Justin Trudeau, everything costs more, with the worst inflation in 40 years. After 8 years...
For all you proud Canadians out there, every day is Fuck Trudeau Day.
Of Justin Trudeau promising debt was consequence-free because interest rates were low, they've shot up in the fastest relative terms in Canadian history, and they are a direct result of his deficit spending. After 8 years of Trudeau, work doesn't pay. You make it, he takes it. After 8 years of Trudeau, housing costs have doubled. The needed rent is doubled. The needed down payment for your average home, doubled. The average mortgage payment for a new home.
This is because the Canadian dollar is worthless, like the US dollar. It's fiat currency, right? It's money out of nothing, no value to the money. This is why there's inflation.
Doubled. And before we go again blaming the rest of the world for some phenomenon that is out of his control, let us be very clear about this. The housing inflation in Canada is the worst or very close to the worst of any developed nation. Housing costs have risen 40% faster than incomes under Trudeau, which is by far the worst in the G7. It is the second worst in the OECD. It is double the OECD average. Many OECD countries have actually seen housing affordability improve over the last 8 years. This is not a problem that has been dropped on Justin Trudeau's lap. It is a problem that he created with his inflationary spending and by continually building up the local bureaucracies that block home building. He has made us the second slowest place to get a building permit on planet Earth, and it now costs.
I think the first slowing place is the Netherlands. You may be on second, but we're on first, right? Nothing is being built here, and the things that are built are already paid for, and you know it's a yearly plan. So yeah, it's really, really sad to see what's happening in Canada, you know, and it's all monopoly, right? You guys know the game Monopoly. There's one winner in Monopoly because you have the whole board. Well, Justin Trudeau has the whole board, right? Got oversight in this, oversight in that. So he's got the whole board. He has the monopoly. And you Canadians have to fight this monopoly, right? Don't look at the media. You are the media. You are the media. You are carrying a computer within your pocket, which is a mobile phone, right? It has a camera. You can go live, whatever, report on what's happening, right? Because the media is really dying out. It's really dying out. The LA Times, mass unemployed and stuff like that, mass layoffs, and you know, the Western world is falling apart at the seams, right? Ja, mensen, in Canada is het heel erg, ja. Je hebt dus een vrouw die bij de ouders woont. Ja, daar vertelt hij dus over. En die kan pas rond zijn 40ste een huis veroorloven. En die woont dus in de kelder bij de ouders. En zij wil ook een toekomst en zoiets. En dat huis is zelfs zo duur dat de ouders moeite hebben om het huis te kunnen betalen. En wie weet, misschien zijn ze straks op straat. Ja. Dit gebeurt onder socialistische regimes. Ja. Zoals wat er in Canada gebeurt. So we also had Tucker Carlson visiting Canada, and the people were pooping their pants, put it correctly, right? And it was a delight to see Tucker Carlson, Canada. It was a delight to see that Tucker was in Canada, and he uses free speech to express himself on what's happening in Canada. And the liberal people over there, they were melting down. They were like, oh, Tucker Carlson is far right and blah, 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 blah. You know, it really is amazing. I've seen the whole speech, and it was nothing far right about it. So really is amazing. We have to liberate Canada, indeed. Here we have Tucker Carlson in Calgary.
Tell me which they are. And the third thing is, notice the erosion of your most basic civil liberties, not the ones granted to you by the crown, but the ones granted to you by God. And those would include the freedom of speech, which is inalienable. It cannot be taken from you no matter who is in Ottawa, or as we say, Ottawa, which, by the way, is the correct pronunciation according to my friends in the Ojibwa community. I've pronounced it that way every time on television, and I get all these angry, you're pronouncing it incorrectly. You don't even know the name. It's like, I know a lot about Canada. I'm doing it on purpose to make fun of you, so you will, but you won't. And then this Ojibwa leader writes in and he goes, all the whites are wrong. It's actually Ottawa. Go Ottawa! Anyway, it doesn't matter who's in the Prime Minister's office. Your rights remain the same because you were born with them, because you are not a slave, you're a human being. And you have inherent dignity because God made you. That's just a fact. And if they're taking those rights away piecemeal and doing so in the name of public safety, even as they make the public sphere much more dangerous, which they have, in case you haven't noticed.
Well, actually, Tucker, my parents made me, not God, okay? That's a fact, right?
Canada has a lot more violent crime now than it did 20 years ago. Have you noticed? Of course you have. You live here. And if they're telling you you can't defend yourself against that crime, we're going to disarm you. You can't protect your life or your family. And you're like, oh yeah, it's for the public safety. It's just not a big deal. These are weapons of war. No, they're weapons of self-defense, which you need and deserve as a free person, not a slave. And then they're telling you, you can't complain about it. And then they're subsidizing the media to the point where all of your big media outlets, which are disgusting, are state media because they're taking state cash. Do you watch CBC? I do, occasionally. I can turn in any hour of the day and I will learn that I am racist for driving an SUV and not being trans. That's the whole schedule of CBC programming. But interpret that. That's not woke. Oh, it's woke. I hate the woke crap. It doesn't mean anything. They hate you. That's what they're saying. They're saying that you are bad. That's exactly what they're saying. Don't lie to yourselves. That's what I'm saying. And we are very delusional in the United States because we're so distracted by stuff and electronic devices and the promise of next day delivery from Amazon of brightly colored plastic crap made in China that we tend to be slow to figure out what's going on. But Canada has a different restraint, which is a cultural one. It's an specific Anglo-cultural one, which is just like, I don't want to deal with that. That's too uncomfortable. But in your heart, anyway, even if you voice it to no one but yourself, know what the message is. And the message is, you are bad. I mean, I'm going to say the most controversial thing ever. I watched when Montreal was cleansed of its Anglo legacy. And I'm not anti-French, just for the record, at all. But I am Anglo, and I had friends in Montreal. And in the span of a generation, like, that's all gone. They were forced out. And they're like, okay, I guess we'll go to Ontario. What? My grandfather built this city. I'm not going anywhere. How about that? That never occurred to anyone. Because no one could say out loud what was actually happening. This was a series of acts of hostility aimed at you because of things that you didn't choose, like how you were born. And once you will keep allowing that, you have no future, okay? So if they're limiting your freedom to say what you think, which is freedom of conscience, the most basic of all freedom, your freedom to defend yourself and your family against bodily harm, which has got to be a twin to the first one. If they're taking away your voting power by changing the population of your country, which they are doing, and no one wants to talk about that, Canada has the highest immigration rate in the world per capita.
Very, very sad to see what's happening in the Western Hemisphere. And woke is just, communism, basically. It's something of an agenda, a socialist agenda, and you have to comply. And, we have to accept that, a bearded guy can translate himself as a woman and compete in women's sports. I'm not joking here. You know, reality has been twisted upside down, right? And it's up to us to, you know, make it reality again, right? We must get back to our sanity and realize that your neighbor is not the enemy. You know, the person living in the other city is not the enemy. Nope. The real enemy is the government. It's a totalitarian government, right? They want everything. They want control over the world. I'm not joking here. As I've showed you yesterday, even UN people were used on October 7th, right, to attack Israel. They're playing very, very dirty games. So this is what's happening. We have to be aware of what's happening. And I'm laying it all out. I don't care, right? I've had an email from YouTube, your video is blocked. Okay, why? Well, you used something that has copyright. Now, if I look around YouTube, I cannot see which video has copyright claims, right? I don't see that. There is no marker saying that this is copyrighted. So how am I to know, I'm talking to the YouTube overlords here, how am I to know what is copyrighted and what is not? I am a consumer of YouTube and I want to know what is copyrighted and what is not. I don't want some letter from you guys saying you're blocked in this region. It's like, oh my God, man. You know, it really is amazing. And maybe I'm stepping on some toes here, but, you know, many people are blocked and have gone off YouTube. But I stand my ground, right? I could also go on Rumble or whatever platform there is, you know, but I'm staying here on YouTube. And I'm talking to the YouTube overlords that are watching me, right? We know. Ja, wij weten dat de politie hier in Nederland het tooi gebruikt. Kennen we dat nog? Tooi? Daar hebben we het laatst ook over gehad. Ja. The police has a special investigation team called the TOI, T-O-O-I. And we're going to take a look at een article. Even opzoeken. Zo. Ik ga een artikel naar voren halen. Team Openbare Orde Inlichtingen. Ik weet dat ze meekijken naar RHTVLive. I know they're also watching RHTVLive. They're hoping that I flip out or something like that, and you know, then the police is right in front of my nose. Team Openbare Orde Inlichtingen. Yeah. So the police has a special unit which the government did not know about, right? And they're spying on us, which is, you know, already known, it's well known. Edward Snowden said something about that, right? PRISM, and stuff like that. You know, it really is amazing. We have prison surveillance, prison surveillance. There we go. This was what Edward Snowden was talking about, right? Also spy programs, and there's enough backdoors. Even if you have your mobile off, they can listen to you and stuff like that. You know, it's amazing. It's Big Brother on steroids, right? And I want to live free. I don't want any government agency looking over me, looking over my shoulder, you know. I want to live free. Damn it. I don't want to live under a totalitarian state. And that is what my country and other countries have become. So we need to do something about this problem here. And it's up to you to do something. Right? It's up to you. Hey, we have Bear Britain audits also watching. That's cool. Thanks for coming by. You know, there's so much to talk about. So Bear Britain audits is in Birmingham, Britain, and he's also doing a lot of audits in Birmingham. Check out his channel. Hope you're well. Yes, I am. I'm fired up. You know, I'm fired up. Yeah. Because I don't know if you've seen the whole episode, but the king wants us to eat insect burgers. I'm not joking here. I'm not joking. We can show you the video we just showed. If we can find it back. So, let's see. It really is amazing. It really is amazing, you know. They want us to eat insects and stuff like that. And they're testing it out, right, with insect lollipops. I'm not joking here. So, over there in England, you guys are also going to get insect lollipops, which is the future of our food industry. So we're going to take a look at the insect lollipops, right? Here we go.
Nou, deze krekels die kweken wij voor menselijke consumptie. Deze gaan dus ook in de lollies. Het voedsel van
de crickets.
Toekomst.
Veel mensen vinden insecten eten vies, maar toch ligt deze insectenlolly vanaf maandag in de supermarkt. Een primeur.
Dat we nu via de lolly mensen in staat stellen om de eerste keer insecten te eten. Want dat is toch het belangrijkste, dat je het een keer durft. En ja, dan, als je die drempel over bent, dan...
This is just to introduce, right? Because people don't usually eat insects. But put it in a lollipop, oh yeah, yeah. So,
ja, is de volgende stap naar een keer een aardappeltje met wat insecten en wat groenten, is dan veel makkelijker te maken.
En dat is belangrijk voor onze toekomst, zegt hoogleraar Dieken.
We hebben een snel groeiende wereldbevolking en om die allemaal te voorzien van voldoende eiwit, dat kan nu nog wel, maar als we nog 2 miljard extra mensen moeten voeden, dan wordt dat op de gangbare manier onmogelijk. En we moeten dus naar alternatieven zoeken en insecten zijn één van de mogelijke alternatieven.
Over een paar jaar is een potje krekelpuree misschien wel net zo ingeburgerd als woensdag gehaktdag.
So that dude was saying that the world population is expanding and the land mass that we have is shrinking because of the expansion of world population, you know, and therefore we need to eat insects instead of cows because cows fart CO2 and that is bad for the environment. Even though jet setting to Davos and back to the Netherlands, no, that's not bad for the environment. No. Cows are bad for the environment, right? Because cows fart. And it won't take long before farting is illegal or you have to pay a lot of money for it, right? So we're also going to show you the king, who is also at an insect farm promoting the insect burger, right? I'm not joking here. We just showed it. But in case you missed it, we're also going to repeat it if we find the clip. Wait a sec. Nope, not that. Oh, here we are. Yeah, so we're going to show you the clip. Here we have the king.
Nog een handje te kunnen geven?
Ja, en een selfie proberen te maken.
Na een hoop handjes geven en iets maken was het natuurlijk tijd om iets te eten. Hier maken ze burgers van meelwormen, insecten dus. En die zien er zo uit. Meelwormen worden speciaal gekweekt om te kunnen eten. Dat is beter voor het milieu dan het houden van koeien, varkens of kippen. En omdat ze zo klein zijn, nemen ze maar weinig ruimte in en kun je er veel meer van houden.
Heel veel van onze eiwitten halen we uit vlees. En dat vlees dat stoot heel veel CO2 uit om te produceren. De wormen zijn koudbloedig en daardoor passen ze hun lichaamstemperatuur altijd aan de omgeving.
En stoten ze minder schadelijke gassen uit?
En stoten ze minder schadelijke gassen uit.
Is het niet zielig?
Ja, ik vind het niet super zielig. Er is wel veel onderzoek naar gedaan dat ze veel minder waarnemen van wat er gebeurt. En daardoor zou je eigenlijk kunnen zeggen dat het minder zielig is.
Het eten van deze beestjes mag nu sinds een paar jaar in Nederland. Al is het wel wennen.
En ze voelen niet lekker en het zijn kleine beesten. En, ja, ik vind het wel lekker.
En ook de koning was wel benieuwd naar zo'n insectenburger.
Het is een heel stukje vlees zonder want als je de ketchup en alles op doet, dan kun je een heleboel verbergen. Qua smaak is het goed inderdaad.
Hij vindt het dus lekker.
So there we have the king eating insect burger, and in a couple of years you go to McDonald's and you can eat a cricket burger or a cockroach burger, you know, stuff like that. You know, it's amazing, really is amazing. So I say, I am Spartacus, right? I resist this. I resist these globalists and stuff like that. I resist them over my dead body, right? So, and maybe I'm a bit on fire. I'm trying to cool off, but this makes me very, very angry. And also this, as I've showed before, we have the refugees coming to the Netherlands, right? And we have people singing in a refugee center, "You are welcome," right? You're welcome. And all these refugees give the finger and they say Islam. They say Islam is great and blah, 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 blah. You know, it's really amazing.
We zijn vlekken.
Wij islamieten zijn rustig. Wij kunnen alles met onze woord kunnen we uitpraten. We hebben onze handen niet nodig en onze kracht niet nodig, niks. Want wij zetten jullie verschut alleen met onze mond.
Kan kapot.
Ik wil weten wie je bent. Vertel me je verhaal.
Luister, we gaan niet te veel informatie aan jou doorgeven, snap je? Zo werken wij niet. Ik heb toch vrijheid van meningsuiting. Ik mag gewoon zeggen wat ik wil. Ik ben een strijder van type Erdogan. Je weet toch sowieso. Zo gaat het hier in
So he calls himself a warrior of Erdogan.
de buurt. Allemaal pet. Allemaal doodmaken.
Kill them all. That's what he says, right? And you have these lefties. You are welcome. You're welcome in our country. You're welcome. I want to know your name. I want to know you. It's like, what the hell is going on, man? These people are, oh my God. They're also Dutch people, but they are lost, right? They don't see the reality. I also showed the refugees with the chewing gum balls and stuff like that. If you missed it, you'll have to look back because we're nearing the end of the episode. But this is happening in the Netherlands, and it's insanity. The world is turned upside down.
Nieuws en in de krant. Angst op jou gezicht. Je dochter in de hand. Velen komen om.
Eentje heeft iets om een raam in te slaan. De ramen zijn ingeslaan. Ik heb hem gevuld.
En ik leef nu met je mee.
Nou, ik leef met je mee. Ja. Jullie zijn welkom. This is happening, people. Amazing. These are old video clips from a couple of years ago, but it's still happening. And if you speak out, you are deemed as dangerous. So, yeah. I'm probably on some terror watch list. You know, who knows? And I don't care. I do not care. I care for my country, right? Fight for the country you live in or die in a country you do not know, right? And we don't have any weapons, so this is an information war. Anybody can go live. Anybody can talk about their situation. You know, I also give geopolitics and stuff, and yeah, it's all for free. It's all for free. I don't ask any money. I just ask you to share this and to be a light within these dark times, because this is the country we're talking about, you know. You were born in your country, and yeah, you have to fight for it to keep it alive, right? So 5-dimensional warfare, keep that in mind, because that's what's happening right now. So we're going to close off with Alex Jones. Normally we play Natasha Maeve, but I'm too lazy to type. So we're going to play off with Alex Jones, and then I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
The company store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy weird sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. In a room, vampire pot, then the goblins are hobbling round, coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out.
We love you, Alex. We love you. You know, you inspired me to go live, and of course others like Fake Mike Real News. There's also a good inspiration to go live, and Bear Britton is also here, so we're going to take a look at his Bear Britton video clips, right there. Bear Britton audits. Security get all flustered by our visit to a migrant hotel at night. So that's 1 hour ago, fresh from the press on RHTVLive. We have our journalist, Bear Britton audits, and we're going to show you this and close off.
As you can see, we're doing a night audit. So we'll as you can see, so can't really see a lot, but you'd assume from the one in the daylight there's things, so we'll come to have a look. Whoa. Whoa. So you've got things going on here. It's really dark in the car.
Can't go no further.
Pardon?
Can't go no further.
I just want to go.
No, I can't, because it's private property.
Is it private? Is it private property?
It is, yeah.
Oh, does that mean we test that thing?
You are, yeah.
Oh dear, that's a civil thing, you know. No, that's civil.
Sorry?
You know that's civil. Test that. No, civil.
So, just gonna have a look up here. There's the centre. Hi, mate, all right?
How are you, sir?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Is that? I know you are. Excuse me, sir. So look, man. Yo.
Huh?
Hold on, my friend, man.
Hang on, man.
Babe, we told it.
What?
Hold on. Just here, man.
Oh.
I recognize you. Anyway, what's the... How many are we?
We're having a walk out, mate.
I'm only getting a quick look round, I'm gonna go.
No, you gotta go back, man.
Come on, bro.
No. Look. You've been here before.
I haven't.
I haven't been here before.
Come on. You've been here before. And obviously you know the protocol.
What's the protocol? I don't know the protocol. What's the protocol?
Obviously you're not allowed to be, beyond the barrier.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
It's private property.
So are we trespassing?
Sorry?
Are we trespassing?
At the moment you are.
Yeah,
Because
so-
we are.
So what happens next? Go to his channel and you will see we are closing off. And I thank you all for watching. Bye-bye. See you next time.